Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Can y'all hear me? Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing, testing. Okay. Just making sure everything is good. Perfect. And I don't have it plugged up, but I'm going to need to. We can just flow with it. Let's see if we can get it. We got it. I want to make sure everything doesn't look foggy on y'all and make sure y'all can see me pretty good. As it looks not on the YouTube side, it looks like it looks a little, I don't know how to describe it. It looks foggy. It's like it's not picking up as clean. And I don't know if that's the internet. That's my troubleshooting. I don't know. I really don't know. Why is it looking like that? It's not looking as crisp as I want it to. I'm not going to rock the glasses today because I really want to make sure. See, as you can tell. And when I could tell, it bothers me. But I have to roll with the punches. So, it's Thursday. It's Thursday. It's Friday Eve. And so, Friday Eve, we have a college that closed down before I speak on that. Which plays a part in what we say a lot of times, that students are going to be scrambling when the college closes down, why they're closing down, and gave us a topic, gave us a headline. Then we're going to talk about the next one. What was the next one? Let me see if I remember. Boom, boom, boom. Public distrust. Higher education is realizing, especially Ivies, they're realizing that we the public do not trust colleges, but more specifically, we don't trust universities. That's really what they want to say, but they gotta say everybody. And then, last one is just get your degrees up, because we got some more data from, I believe it's 2024, 2025. I want to say 2024, 2025. Yeah, that states that's like the most recent, because it takes time to compile data, mash it up statistically, and all the good stuff. That people are still getting their degrees. A lot of people are trying to get their degrees sooner, or they are getting it sooner. Like not college, but high school students are getting it while they're about to literally walk across the stage in high school. Some of them are getting it as soon as they step into college at 19 or 20. Some interesting data, but it shows you that people are trying to get their degrees faster because they don't want to take on the burden of student loans. And it just goes back to people are still going to college. And the myth has been that people think college is worthless. You don't get a return on investment in college, and many, many, many more things, right? So we're trying to debunk these baseless claims of these myths about college. Well, it's really about universities, but they always say college, and we have to clarify this narrative. Like and subscribe, like and subscribe, like and subscribe. And then I'm going to read the disclaimer. I already got to pull it up. Disclaimer. The videos presented here are for informational purposes only, and therefore, if you are to choose to attend an institution, remember that I am only speaking from my work experience, school experience, and my methodology, you know. And by the time you watch this, you might catch this a year later, you might catch this 3 months later, 6 months later. And a lot of changes are happening in higher education. So just make sure you follow back up with that institution you are considering. Because, for example, like we're going to talk about, at the time of this video, a college is now closed down. If you go watch our past videos, they were not announcing that they were going to close down. Now they're saying like their last semester is fall 2026 of closure. That's when they will close. So just make sure you follow back up with the actual institution. Yes. Close that out. Does it start with LinkedIn? I think it starts with LinkedIn. Henry. Thought you had it up, didn't you? I thought I did. Resources, saved items. Yep, that's it right there. We got a couple of stories, man. We got a lot of stories to really discuss. It's a good thing, though. This might be another 2-hour screen. Let me see. Share the screen. Put the sound on it. So some of you all might have heard of this college. I'm going to play the video as well before I even go down. I'm going to give us a brief, and then I'm going to play the video that I found. I feel like that would be pretty good to show. Let me make sure y'all can. I think y'all can. I hope y'all can hear that. While that loads up. Let me see. Some of that stuff. All right. So can y'all see that? Let me zoom in a little bit. I'm always wondering, can y'all see? All right. So Popular Liberal Arts College will cease operations. A beloved Massachusetts, if I said it right, school is closing its doors. Hampshire College said Tuesday, which was earlier this week. They will shut down at the fall 2026 semester due to ongoing financial struggles, including declining enrollment and rising costs. The 800-student liberal arts college has been working to address the financial headwinds since 2019, but no longer has the resources to sustain full operations. Per a statement, current students will be able to continue their studies through the end of the year, but a new class will not be admitted. So I don't know if, like, you know, I like to start from the top to bottom right now. I don't know if the university president was getting too much. I don't know if the executives were getting too much. I don't know if they had over excessively amenities. I don't know if they had a sports program. I don't know anything about this school. But the first thing I could think of is it's pretty small. It only had like 800 students at the time. And then what else I saw? That's about the most I saw. Oh, it's a rural area. It was considered to be in a rural area, the location of the campus. Here's a post by one of the students. Before we get into all of that good stuff, let's go to the video. That's the whole reason why we got this set up, right? So we can, you know. So let me close that out. Hopefully y'all can hear my screen. Please let me know if y'all can hear it. So it says Hampshire college student scrambling after school announces plans to close.
Well, another small liberal arts school in Massachusetts is closing.
Hampshire College in Amherst cites financial trouble and declining enrollment.
WBZ's Aaron Parsegian is live for us in Amherst tonight talking with students. Aaron?
David and Lisa, today students were quick to point out some irony. It was a beautiful day here in Amherst, but a somber one on Hampshire College's campus. Now, students and faculty are scrambling to figure out what's next for them.
After 6 decades of being a bastion for alternative higher learning, Hampshire College is now winding down for good. Following years of financial struggle and at risk of losing accreditation, the Board of Trustees voted to close the school at the end of 2026. College leaders saying they left no stone unturned, no solution unexplored, and made many sacrifices along the way. On Tuesday, students and staff walked solemnly through campus after learning the news.
So everybody that's more like relative underclassmen is just screwed after the end of this semester. It just has ended. We don't even get the fall. We only have a couple of weeks to figure stuff out like transferring.
Jake Farrell transferred to Hampshire this year and now worries he won't find a college like it anywhere.
It's really sad because I think this school has like a great concept and the liberty that they give you. And it's really a shame that it didn't work out.
The small college boasts a big list of distinguished alumni. Actors Liev Schreiber, Lupita Nyong'o, and documentary filmmaker Ken Burns, who called its closing an incalculable loss, the reverberations of which will be felt in ways none of us can imagine.
This is very hard.
Longtime faculty members like CJ Gill just starting to grapple with the loss.
I'm at moments feeling grief and I'm stunned, but I think, I will start to strategize and figure something out.
Meantime, the college will not be enrolling any new students and will be working with existing ones to figure out a place for them to transfer, something that's going to be helped out by agreements they have with the 5 colleges consortium around here. Live in Amherst tonight, Aaron Parsegian, WBZ News.
So, well, before they was about to say that, at the end, I heard that, well, first and foremost, shout out to the school for saying they were going to help the students transfer with the agreements that they have. So pathway agreements, articulation agreements. So hopefully the students can transfer smoothly to new schools. But this has apparently been an ongoing thing. If you do a basic Google search of Hampshire College, you've seen that, like they said, Ken Burns wanted to save the college back in it was years ago, that he seen that the college was closing down from my basic Google searches, but apparently it wasn't enough to save the school. I'm not sure of the location. Like I said, it's in a rural area. I'm not sure if they were reinvesting back into the school. It's not really that the point I'm trying to make with this. The point I'm trying to make with it right now is that schools are closing down. Small schools, right? I think this school was private. Let me see. Hampshire College. Hampshire College is a private liberal arts college. Yes. And so they were one of those private schools. As we say, private schools are continuously getting hit by a lot of things going on. I can't even say Trump administration. I can't, because they're not really pinpointing exactly why they closed, what led. But they said decrease in student enrollment. Students are not going to these expensive private schools no more. I'm pretty sure it was expensive. It's a private school. I don't know why their prices were jacked up so high. I don't know if it was because they're buildings. I don't know if it was because why were y'all losing students? And then it's we can't do anything about it. And so I wanted to go through it because now it's for example, I would highlight this student, but I think this student right here, I read a little bit of it. They were just stating that it was pretty much a heartfelt moment for them, the reason why they went to the school. And so, but in most cases, you don't want to be that student that goes to a school that's closing down or don't have an idea about school closing down. And then it could point to your case of maybe that's why we should go to known big schools. What about 2 years in that situation, Henry? Well, 2 years could be in that situation. They're small, right? But they're affordable. Universities could be in that situation. Is it safe for me just to go to a university because it's on the March Madness list? It's very known. Not necessarily. Apparently, this college was very known. And I really feel like they are saying we have a lot. I have been seeing articles, and Sam talked about it on our Financial Aid Friday, that I was doing something with the production over here. Sam said something along the lines too about how we have a lot less teenagers apparently. And so we do have an abundance of schools in the United States, right? We have a lot of schools that do not really, or really like in the middle of nowhere. Why are they there? Do they really contribute to anything? And so here it says in the last decade, more than 30 colleges in New England that offer 4-year degrees have closed or merged. So apparently this is a world thing going on because it's the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. And so they say in the last decade, more than 30 colleges in New England that offer 4-year degrees have closed or merged. A recent Boston Fed and Focus article looks at how these closures are affecting the region. I'd always be reading at this screen when I could look on this screen. Famed for higher education. So Hampshire College, the Liberal Arts University in Amherst, if I said it right, Amherst, announced they would close after nearly 6 decades. The announcement marks the end of another tumultuous chapter, if I said it right, in the ongoing saga of the school, which nearly shuttered in 2019. So yeah, back in 2019, it almost closed down. Something happened, and they was able to catch wind and keep going. Hampshire's fight for survival reflects the higher education landscape more broadly, as schools struggle to convince enough families of the value of a four-year college degree. And so that's another topic we're going to talk about, public distrust. We're starting to see the effects of the oligarchy. You know, I always said that higher education is an oligarchy. I think some of the ways higher education can fix itself is by lowering the pay on executive level. Like, there should be a cap of how much you can get paid. Some people might not agree with that, but it's like, of course, if you make 45, 50,000, 60,000, that's pretty good. 6 figures, pretty good. But it gets a little outrageous when we go back to the Ben Sass, right? Or we go to numerous of presidents, university presidents, who make millions and multi-million dollars, right? And it's getting to the point where, like, even if you look at it from another perspective of sports, that like, is college even a college anymore? Is it just a sports agency hub, really? Like, where you can become a pro sooner now, because colleges are more prioritizing and fixing, you know, from my eyes, from my looks and my side of it, that because apparently nobody knows what the H is going on. And it's like, we are fixing the sports, like the NIL problem. We're fixing that pretty fast. And we're paying coaches millions of dollars, which sometimes they say, most of the time they're saying, oh, these coaches are getting paid from alumni donor money and blah, 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 blah. But imagine if you took that alumni donor money and put it back into the school so you can keep the school up and running efficiently. But they're not doing that. That's what I'm like really getting aggravated about. They're putting money in places that don't matter when it comes to these schools. Before these schools even get to closing down, then they're like at the last second, then they're begging alumni and all these last minute strategies to fix what's going on when they could have been proactive. Like, that's just how I feel about it. This school is a private liberal arts school. I don't even think this school had a sports program, but the gist of it all is the public doesn't trust. When the public doesn't trust, it's a problem. But the public probably does trust, like, the sports. They will go support the sports. They're going to go support, like, you know, the sports, I guess. I don't know. But there's a problem with that because Ivy has done some studies on it. We're going to talk about it. And is there anything else about Hampshire College here before we keep going? Let's see what this person said. They're a senior reporter at Industry Dive. Hampshire College is likely a bomber for a whole class of liberal arts hashtag colleges that have experienced budget and hashtag enrollment challenges of late. Because remember, it's really common. I would like to say common sense, balanced equation, not the biggest math person. If you could get prices if you can get some really decent, good prices that can help students and really work on getting that message of their return on investment with accuracy, that can help a lot of students, like, go to your school, or the parents go to your school. Because a lot of times they don't understand. Parents don't understand. Families don't understand higher education on the simplest term right now. because honestly, it's overcomplicated jargon. Like really, a lot of times when we see like just going on a basic Google search of how much money does it cost for me to go to school, then you tell me, oh, the sticker price is not accurate. And I go to your school and then you hit me with all this money. And then really in reality, you telling me, oh, the dorms and the meal plan is really costing me a lot of money, but you're not telling me that. And I feel like that's another problem that's not being highlighted. And I got that. I remember that this time. I actually wrote that down. Housing. That's what we need to talk about too. It's not in the headline, but that's something we need to talk about. The housing insecurity problem in universities. Because like I said, if you stay off campus, don't get a meal plan. If you dodge those two things, that makes your tuition very much affordable. From experience, like that's a big money saver, like over 10 grand a year saver. And so housing insecurity, I knew it was something else I wanted to talk about from the last live screen, and I really couldn't think about it. And that's probably a lot of schools' downfall. But if you keep paying your president, your university president, millions and multi-million dollars or close to $1 million, and the executives dang near got making like 700, they get paid more than representatives of the state, like politicians. Like, it should be a cap on that. Your university president should make $250,000 max. And then if the school is performing, then they can get bonuses and stuff, like structure it right. But they're not doing that. They just base pay $1 million, even if they're not performing enough to even pay that person that much money. It's like really no business model, it seemed like. And I'm not even the biggest business person, but that doesn't make sense. Like if I read a couple business books, and simply like tech founders, tech people, they don't even pay themselves when they're first starting out in their business. They just pay a lot of people to work for them, and they pay themselves little to nothing, because you have to build up the capital, build up the revenue, and build up like, okay, we should have, you might have 9,000 students enrolling potentially, or that's too many. You might have like incoming like 2,000 or 3,000 students, freshmen, depending on the school. And then like that 2,000 or 3,000 is what's generating the potential revenue. So if you fall short with 1,500, but you already anticipate to pay this to the president and pay this to these high-ranking people who supposedly can turn a school around, now we in a limbo of basic business. Like you never know what might happen. So, and then these are just people speaking their mind about the college who probably went there. Like right here, my daughter is a student there, finishing her second year. Prime example. This is what we talk about. Prime example. Imagine being a sophomore, your school closes down on you, but you don't do the research. You don't do the research, right? And they don't mention to you that the school is possibly closing down. Luckily, this school is accredited and they have agreements, so that's a sweet deal. But it says my daughter is a student there, finishing her second year this spring on a full scholarship. Really good. She works on the farm. She studies animal behavior and condemnation. Oh, y'all gonna get me for that one. I know I butchered that one. Hold on. I think that's a healthcare word. Let me see. Oh, y'all wrong for that. The internet has not been working well with me. I've just seen that little delay in there. I don't like when I delay.
Cognition.
Yeah, cognition. I had it right. It sounded like I was pronouncing it wrong, though. She has her first poster presentation this week. She is thriving in an environment that honors inquiry, relationship, and self-directed learning. And now that ground is shifting beneath her. I'm sharing this story. Well, I'm sharing this not only because it is devastating for our family, but because it signals something larger that many of us have been sensing for some time. We are watching the erosion of educational spaces that center transformation over transaction, spaces where students are not simply prepared for the market, but invited into deeper ways of thinking, relating, and becoming. And at the same time, this moment is not abstract. Across this country, over 200,000 Black women are currently unemployed or underemployed. Many of us, including myself, are navigating underemployment, housing instability, and the ongoing work of trying to sustain our lives with dignity in an economy that does not reliably hold us despite our relentless, valuable work. When something like this happens, it lands differently. It is not simply a question of transferring schools or figuring it out. It is a question of what options are actually available and to whom. My daughter and hundreds of students like her will need to find new academic homes, so I'm reaching out to this community. If you are connected to institutions, program, and individuals who value experiential land-based learning, animal behavior, ecology, or cognition, did I say it right? Cognition? Let's make sure.
Cognition,
Cognition, self-directed or interdisciplinary study, or if you have insight into schools that are actively supporting Hampshire students in transition, I would be deeply grateful for your guidance, connections, and recommendations. I'm also open to conversations with anyone thinking about how we could collectively support students navigating this kind of disruption, materially and relationally. This is hard, and it is also a movement, and it is also a moment where community can matter in very real ways. Thank you for reading and for anything you may be able to share. I got a lot of reactions and a lot of comments, and so I'm gonna go ahead and do that while we're on here. So this is why I always say this is very important. This is like, I don't say this out of, I don't know. I don't just say this to say it. I say it with purpose and meaning. I say this like these are real families out here that are going like stranded. You know, the school probably did not mention this. I don't know if they mentioned this to this parent. I don't know if they informed this parent, but they genuinely believed in the school. And it's something I used to say earlier in my post, that like families are really like trusting these universities to watch their baby when they're going to college, going to this university. You know, they're letting their guard down in a way that's undescribable to make sure you're going to take care of their kid while they're not watching, you know. And universities, colleges, I guess you want to say, but more, because you know me, universities are not holding up their end, because I strongly feel like they're just not doing what they're supposed to do. A large part could be politically, a large part could be the not following their mission and values, trying to keep up with the, as I would say, the I guess keeping up with the Joneses of college, keeping up with the wrong things. And it's affecting the bottom people, which is, they say the students or consumers, but the students, it's affecting the students and families. Because now, if we go to our data, which we spoke on this before, it was a few live streams ago, that when students fall in this situation, they might don't want to go back to school no more after this. Going back through, you know, the student was in, what she said, a sophomore. Her daughter is a sophomore. Yeah, going into her second year or finishing her second year. So she's getting ready to be a junior in college. Now she's like, I had a full ride scholarship, you know, a full ride scholarship to go here. Now she has to find a school that possibly won't offer her a full ride scholarship. Possibly. I don't know the story. I don't know the full situation, but I'm coming in as a junior. Like, what's the chances of me getting a full ride scholarship? And I got to hurry up and find a school for next fall 2026. Tough. It's going to be a tough. So they might just sit out a year just so they can find a school, which what delays your time of going to school, which delays what potentially getting a great return on investment. But remember, it's not all about how fast you want to go. You do want to slow down, pick the right school that fits you, has your major, has your community, and hopefully with the media that the attention is getting, that people are putting in there, you know, hopefully, let's see the comment section before we go to the next topic. I'm going to sling a few arrows here. And they didn't really say nothing crazy. I don't want to go through all the comments, but yeah, so it's good that we did see that. And that's just one of the examples that I wanted to show. All right. Hampshire College students, hopefully you find speaking on behalf, because I am speaking on your behalf, and it's not fair. They should have gave you a heads up. Hopefully they did give you a heads up that the school was about to close in 2019. Hopefully they didn't sell you a false reality, Because if you'd have been honest, maybe the students would have still came and just said, I'll do my 2 years here and I'll still leave. Then they can get them a strategy like, I have a backup school if they do close. If they don't, I'll take that risk. But yeah, interesting. So who's next? Not who's next. It's the public distrust. So let me put this back over here. Like and subscribe, like and subscribe. So before I get, I can still show y'all this though. I can still show y'all this. So, oh, that's the Hampshire College. That's just somebody else's angle of the situation, and we pretty much talked about everything already in that. Where is it? Here we go, right here. This is what I wanted to show you. All right. So higher ed has a trust problem. What we just talked about, what we just said, Yale thinks it has the solutions. And if you don't know Yale, Yale is an Ivy League, one of the top institutions in the United States or the world, actually perceived to be. And we have a problem. Like we just said, people don't trust colleges, but they say they don't trust higher ed. But the real problem is they don't trust universities. That's what they should have clarified and said. And I do think they have a good reason, like we just discussed in the last topic. Where is, I think we have another. I want to make sure I didn't. Do I have a video for this? No, I got a video related to this though. Let me see.
This?
We have a video related, but it's 10 minutes. It's 10 minutes. That's like something you play in the beginning. It's 10 minutes. We'll see. We'll see how y'all feeling. I feel like I really do want to show y'all that. But I'm probably going to show y'all that after this. Might as well. So higher ed has a trust problem. And then as we go through it, hey, would it be a good idea to play the article audio and let them read it and go through it? Definitely a question. Definitely a good question to let the audio read to us instead of me doing it. It's a very good question that I'm gonna ask Al. She might say no. I don't know. That's a good question. But too often, I like to read the introduction. It's a pretty lengthy article, but I got the gist of it. I'm gonna go probably paragraph by other paragraph, skim through style. But remember that you can always come read this. It's by Emma Petty, if I say her name right. And it was written yesterday at the time of the video, April 15, 2026. Too often academics have quotations resisted calls to critically examine our own institutions, professions, and modes of thought. But that modus, if I said it right, operandi, no longer suits. And quote, as we move forward, we must be willing to admit where we have been wrong. Right here, the committee composed of 10 faculty members identified 3 immediate factors driving the trust erosion. Tuition sticker shock. We just said that. Tuition sticker shock. Just said that. Tuition sticker shock. And doubt whether a degree pays off. And that's where I always come in, because I'm saying, like, students are like, if you are, granted, you are going to go to school and your major is going to be, you might have inspirations to be a therapist. But when you go to school, you start learning different things. Now you say, maybe I want to transition to being a criminal justice major, right? And then, but your school charges you $100,000 a year. And when you go into anything criminal justice or government work, usually government work is a service job, public service job. Speaking of that, because I do government work as part-time, it doesn't pay well, but it's more beneficial. Like, the benefits are great, but the pay, And a lot of people are going to places or schools some people are just going to schools because of the name. And I think we have to take steps back before we think about the tuition sticker shock. We need to take steps back and understand, like, people's perception of college. Like, people believe that when you go to college, you're supposed to make an abundance of money. And I respect that. That's the point, right? You are paying an abundance of money. Well, that's where my perspective comes in with the speaking on behalf mythology. That, once again, guys, when I was at my 2-year, I'm in Georgia. Some of you all are in states that's a lot more affordable. And Georgia is like one of those states, like, it's not as easy to get a debt-free degree, right? But my goal is for you to always strive for a debt-free degree. And how do you do that? You got to remember that when you go to a 2-year, you knock out your gen ed, and you start, if you really feel like you got like 3 or 4 majors that you could end up potentially doing, you should complete your gen ed, because your gen ed prepares you, like, knock out freshman, sophomore year, your gen ed or your gen ed associate's degree or interdisciplinary associate's degree is I would like to say it's flexible. It can be applied to a lot of majors. So when you get to your university, you know, like, all right, I can potentially choose these majors. Then that's another problem. So then you can really just take one class in a university major. Like, if you be like, I still think I want to do the therapy thing, but I want to do the bachelor's thing. Some schools have, like, you know, like intro to it before you can get into it like officially in grad school. Because I know, for example, like therapists, if you want to be a therapist, I know there's different types, but a therapist, you have to usually get a doctoral degree. So either you're going to get your master's, then doctoral, or just skip the doctoral. But you want to tiptoe, like, do I really want to do this? You want to test the waters, right? And sometimes I tell students, test the waters while you're at your 2-year college. Like, take a criminal justice class, see if you like it. If you don't like it, then that saves you money before you get to the university. And that's some of the maneuvers that just help save a lot of money before getting trapped in that box of, like, I already started the university major. I already completed like 5 classes in it. It's going to be a hard pivot because now I have to spend another 5 years completing 5 classes in a new major, because your major changes by every college. Like, if you get your associate's degree at a 2-year, that has nothing to do with your major at a university. And I know that might sound confusing, but what you get at your 2-year and major in could be completely different for your bachelor's, could be completely different for your master's, could be completely different for your doctoral. That's the beauty of higher education. And that's why it's good to know, like, hey, will you accept my credits? That's why we ask the question, will you accept my credits? And we in this conflict of interest thing right now, because apparently they're trying to change their accreditation. Apparently right now, Department of Education in Washington, D.C. is having meetings about doing sweeping overhaul changes of how the accreditation system is going to go. But remember, in 2015, 2016, let's think about it. Who administration that was? 2015, 2016, let's think about who administration that was. Comment. This is why I need my people who are really good at politics, really good at knowing politics right now, because 2015 administration or prior, gotta always go a little further back, because the 2015, 2016 or the 2016 administration signed it off probably. But they had, like, I was talking to my brother on the other day at physical therapy, and I asked him a question. And I was like, hey, did you have to go? I was like, did you have to go? I asked him, did you know that in 2016, they changed the law or rule that you have to go get a doctoral degree to become a physical therapist, essentially? Like, you have to go to doctoral like school to become a physical therapy. And he was like, yeah, because I guess at the time when he researched and saw it, like, he was coming out of high school, he knew all he needed was a bachelor's degree. Then he can go from bachelor's to straight being a physical therapist. Then while he was on his journey in school and college, you know, you're in college, you're young. I think he didn't realize that they changed it though. And then so I asked him, I said, so the people who already was physical therapists, for example, I said, so what happened to them? They didn't have to go to the school like you did. He was like, nah, they got granddaddied in. And then what granddaddy in mean, they just, like, since they already had enough years of experience working a job, it just don't fit them, since they already physical therapists and have the experience. So they don't need to go to that type of school like he did. And that's the importance of what really understanding the politics and the laws of what's going on and what we be talking about. Because what we're talking about now and how the Trump administration right now is possibly going to do a lot of big changes to the accreditation, like we talked about in the last live screen. That's going to probably hit us, like, that's going to hit a lot of kids who are coming into school probably like fall 2027, fall 2028. Like, a lot of changes are coming this summer. Like, July 2026. A lot of changes are coming in higher ed that I can't say, I don't know how it's going to happen. I know the changes are coming, but we don't know how it's going to be implemented. That's the thing we don't know, because you don't really, you know how it is, guys. You don't know what's really going to be a problem until somebody at the job is like, this is a problem now. And they was like, we didn't think about that, because a lot of these people are people who never worked in higher education. Most of these people always worked in like other occupations, and they're trying to learn higher education, but they realize, well, most people realize, and who work in higher education, that this is a career field you should go to school for and learn, but a lot don't value it. And then a lot who don't value it don't understand the passion and the harm that they're doing, essentially. Because if you understood the harm, and that like just because it's not direct impact, it's very indirect, that you can help a lot of students. I know I went on tangent. I'm sorry. But we're going to keep going. Okay, like and subscribe. We appreciate everybody stopping by for a little bit. And so, yeah. And then they said right here, questions about who is admitted and why. Like, that's another thing. We just talked about that in the last live stream with Palantir. Palantir said a lot of people are finna find out that they are great, they are ambition, and you are that person. Like, some of you all who probably come by this live stream are like probably getting ready to go to college, already in college, and was like, this college turned me down when I tried to get in. You could have got into that college, but like, as the public is asking questions about who is admitted and why are they admitted, concerns about what's said and taught on campus, people are being more curious about that, including political bias and self-censorship. Self-censorship, I'm not fully aware of that, but political bias. I had a talk yesterday. I was like, I didn't realize, I keep saying it every time, I did not realize colleges, well, it makes sense because the whole point of colleges and universities and is to be liberal. And so I was like, dang, I always wondered now, like, where did my schools fall? Like, when I went to my 2-year college, when I transferred to my university, then when I went and got a grad school, I know my grad school was left. Like, that school was left. Georgia State is a left-leaning school. When I went to Valdosta State University, I don't know if they were left-leaning, right-leaning. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure they were right-leaning. Everybody who go down there would be like, definitely right-leaning. I don't know. At the time when I was going to school, I didn't know there was a difference. I thought every college, we was, what's that word? Nonpartisan. I thought we were nonpartisan when it came to politics in college. I really did, because I went to college to be a forward thinker, like learn from people, learn new things. That was one of the things I started learning as I went to college. There's so much learning to do. So to find out that political bias is in the curriculum is interesting. It's very interesting. So now, and then we found, I don't know if I said it on the last live stream, but now, guys, we got two right-leaning think tanks, as inside higher ed would say. We got two right-leaning think tanks that writes about higher education and their perspective now. So now we got the Chronicles, we got Inside Higher Ed. Now we got it's called DFI. I don't have them pulled up right now. We got DFI and American Institute Enterprise. And I've always been subscribed to American Enterprise Institute. I believe that's AEI. I believe that's their syllables. But now we got two right-leaning, two left-leaning. So now we can put and formulate and merge together, like, okay, what are these people trying to say? Because now we can get an independent perspective. That's the whole point of higher education. Because my whole goal for you all on this outlet, this channel, right, is to save you $10,000 or more in higher education. But also, I'm going to break down the behind the scenes of it too, and let you realize that your university president gets paid a lot of money, millions and multi-millions of dollars. Your executive level people are getting high-end money, high-end dollars. And it's cool. We ain't upset. But when the school closed down and they say money, financial struggles, and this and that, it's like, why you just couldn't put the money that you were paying these employees, because technically state employees at that, people who work for colleges are state employees. Why couldn't these state employees cut their salary? People say, oh, would you cut your salary? Well, if I made $3 million and I understand the school is suffering millions of dollars, I think I would cut my salary a bit to help the school stay afloat, to help the students, so we don't have a college on the verge of closing down. Then we begging alumni donors who we never talked to or reached out to before, who make a certain amount of money that we never talked to them, asking them for money. So the group made 20 recommendations, and then they started talking about the recommendations. So one of the committee recommendations was more abstract and reflects a growing embrace of self-criticism throughout the academy, that everyone at Yale take responsibility for their role in higher education's perception problem. The tendency to be self-regarding, insular, if I say it right, insular, Lord, these words, but and unreceptive to legitimate criticism does not engender public trust, the report says. A shift in attitude is needed, very much. I think that's McInnes. I don't know how I said it. I think that's McInnes. So somebody said, McInnes agreed, in quotation, I accept this judgment fully. She said in the campus message, this decline did not come out of nowhere. And we were certainly more than mere bystanders. So they said it's over interview, or in a Wednesday interview over Zoom. Something their career leader. They said over the next year, the 10 professors read relevant books, scholarly articles, public opinion data, and news coverage, and spoke with hundreds of people inside and outside of Yale, including activists and politicians. Nobody reached out to me. Maybe I'm not up there yet to be considered like what they should do on higher ed. I'm just saying they haven't reached out to me yet for interviews with my perspective. Not there yet. Like and subscribe. Appreciate the love and support. In those conversations, they encounter a huge swath of opinions. At one extreme were those who I read that, but it wasn't really much. It says one major area of improvement for the committee was admissions. The report identifies issues with the holistic admissions process, which considers not just academics, but character traits and experiences. However, adeptly designed and applied, such a system is subjective. Well, quotation, such a system is, quotation, subjective and hard to explain, the report says. Available evidence also suggests that process, quotations, disproportionately benefits wealthy applicants. The report says, citing a large study that examined admissions to Ivy Plus institutions and concluded that children from families in the top 1% of income were more than twice as likely to attend those colleges as children from middle-class families who had comparable standardized test scores. Researchers found that advantage was driven by, among other factors, weight placed on non-academic credentials. So right there, they're talking about the 1%. Only reason I can say this from experience, the top 1% were more likely to attend those colleges as children from middle and class families who had comparable standards. And so apparently if you are a top 1% family and your kid goes there, apparently they're saying that those kids are more likely to go there. I actually heard this from my professor in grad school, because my professor attended an Ivy, but we always were curious because I never went to an Ivy institution. I really don't. The only person, I really don't know nobody personally who went to an Ivy institution, which I think about. But when I think about it, he said, like, when he looked to his left and he looked to his right, you know, the students came from very, 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 very wealthy backgrounds. And is it something that's going to really change? Like, top 1% of kids who go to these top colleges, is it really going to change? Are you really going to start admitting what they say, middle class families and low income families to these, I guess, bigger institutions? Are you really going to start doing a fair admissions process? Because apparently a lot of people say the admissions process is not fair. From reading scholarly articles in school, the admissions process is not fair due to money, due to, I guess, politics. Well, definitely politics. Due to, like, I know who I know and who you know. Like I told you, for example, I seen 2 kids they're brothers out of high school. When I was working at Georgia Tech, I seen two of them get into the institution. Two of them, because their mom worked in the school and she knew somebody. That's the reality. But I don't want, the reason I tell you this story is because I don't want you to be hurt over why you didn't get into this university. If you understand why and how everything works at a university, or you understand how this admission process really gets down, and you really understand some human behind it, you can learn to get into these top tier schools. This is how you really get into a top tier school. If I was trying to get into a top tier school out of high school, I'm telling you, a lot of politics plays a role. I would try to be very, like, if you're, depending on what state, city you're in, I would try to get a top. I would try to get a, hey, what up, duder? Hey, we got a comment. Hey there. Like and subscribe. Like I said, I would try to get a person who's a top political figure to write a letter of recommendation. If you're trying to go to a top university, get a top political figure. They said they were just getting into like other non-academic credentials. You want to work on those, like if you play sports, you do what's called debating. What is the channel about? So I'm going to take a brief moment to tell this person what the channel is about. So on this channel, we talk about higher education. We talk about how you can save $10,000 or more in school by not staying on campus, not getting a meal plan, not staying in the dorms. And that cuts your overall price of school into a legit tuition price. You can call me Smugs. Okay, Smugs. And so that's what we want to do. We want to help a lot of kids. If you are going to college or you know someone going to college, this can help save them over $10,000 or more. And so that's what we do on this channel. But we also talk about how like university presidents make a lot of money. We talk about how political figures and how that ties into higher education and hurts the public essentially. But we talk about a large amount of range of things as a media company. So then as we keep going, like and subscribe. This is the article. If you want to play it back. And it's Yale. These are Yale. I like that right there. I like that right there. I like that. Now make sure hit that like button for me, Smugs. Hit that like button, like and subscribe. Hit that like button for me. We just putting the truth out there for higher ed, though. We just putting the truth out there. That's all. And we also talk about, well, the whole formula is really for you to start a 2-year and bridge to a 4-year under articulation agreement as well. I'll be lurking. And so I appreciate that. And so they said right here, let me see. Yeah, that's what we was. Over the next year, the 10 professors read relevant books. Oh, we already read that part. I went up too far. Okay, good. I'm glad I highlighted. Smell say it'll be lurking. That's what I like to see right there. That's what we like to see. And then since I got I'm telling you guys, when I got people in the comment section, I'm gonna use it. So Smug said, you push on critical thinking as well, or just pathways for degrees. When you say critical, break that critical thinking down for me, Smugs, and just pathways for degrees. I would say I push more for pathway degrees for sure. I definitely push for pathway degrees because the articulation agreement and pathway degrees are like that's like the secret way to crack the code. It's like a hack. And so if I go to a 2-year, I tell students, like, if you got your dream university, Smugs, if you got your dream university, see who your dream university has a 2-year articulation agreement with, because all university has they have these agreements, these articulation agreements and pathway agreements. And so if you are a person that's like, oh, he said, I'm no college guy. If you know somebody who was a college guy, though, and he said, she's just how people should think about thinking, if that makes sense. Knowing. Okay. College dropout. It's still for you, especially if you know plenty. Thank you. That's why I try to tell people, you can always give your experience on there. And so, because I'm always looking to learn and build a community. That's what we're trying to do. And so right here, they're saying that if I go back before Smut say something else, like and subscribe, man. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. I'm liking this today. I'm liking this today. Let's see where we was at. Let's see what we was at. 10 professors. All right, that's where I can go with that one. That's the next line we was at. Oh, chill out, haha. Just digesting what you're doing. Saw you had low numbers and you randomly popped up on my feed while I'm researching. Hey, that's good. Like, make sure you hit that like button. Tell people. I came across this guy on the live screen. He had low views. I was trying to see what he was talking about. Yeah, hey, that's good. That's really good. I appreciate that. And what you was researching too. If you're doing some research, what you were researching for me to pop up? It had to be educational. It had to be. And then as we keep going, wow, Smuds is probably, let me make sure I'm saying this right. Smuds is probably gonna say something else, I feel like. But I love that, man. Especially I just meeting around. It gets me pumped. Like, it just gets me pumped. And so they said while building the incoming class, quotations will always involve judgment. The report says the question becomes whether that judgment can be exercised transparently and whether academics remain visibly at the center. And then I want to see, is there anything else? Because they're just quoting, because it is an interview and they're doing a lot of quotes. I want to finish out. All right. The committee also highlighted issues with free speech and self-censorship. And like I said, with the free speech and self-censorship, I don't know what self-censorship is. I feel like it's the same thing, similar, but free speech on, as I said before, on the not yesterday, but the last live stream, like on Tuesday, free speech was not a problem when I was in undergrad. I told you guys, I seen a lot of people come on the public campus, public university, community college sometimes, but mostly universities, and they would just do anything. And so, yeah, they talk about free speech. And I want to say that's really, I want to read the concluding paragraph before we finish. Talking about Democrats. And you can always read this article. As I tell you guys, it's on Chronicle Higher Education. But before I finish out, I'm going to go to the bottom of it and see what they say at the end. And so Smut says something else real quick before we go to the next segment. So I don't even know how to pronounce that. I don't even know how to pronounce that. That's crazy. Forgive me. As you probably don't know me yet, Smuds, fully, but I have a pronunciation when it comes to certain things. Pronunciation problem. But bismuth and dimagnesium with a hint of creating a NAS and using, or NAS, if I said it right, and using a mesh network, but looking to move into a radio waves like analog instead of digital. Whoa, that is a lot. That is a lot. Also, always hearing / debates. So I'm like a galactic organic probe. You don't have to read all my stuff. I appreciate that. But you know what I'm going to do while we're on this live stream before I go to the next topic? Real quick. Let me see real quick. Let me see. All right. I think you heard it, but
diamagnetic,
diamagnetic. So cool. Now you're gonna have me wondering what that is, because I'm gonna be like, So that's pretty much it with that though. Oh, y'all can't see it. That's pretty much it with that. And then before I go to the last one, so should I go to let's talk about this housing situation. I really want to talk about the house. Before I jump to the data, I want to jump to the housing now. And I got that saved on LinkedIn. Let me see. I have that saved. It's an Inside Higher Ed article. A few seconds. Resources. Y'all probably like, what is he doing right there? What is he doing? Yeah, so this right here. I was gonna say, where did it go? They say, I didn't know it said caregiving. I'm still gonna open it. Let me see. Okay, now that's a different one. That's about caregivers. I thought it was about regular. Well, technically, caregivers do go to schools, mostly like 2-year schools, moms and all that, moms in that good nature, older students. But that ain't what I thought it was. That is not what I thought it was. So we're going to talk about this. And then Smug said diamagnetic means a material creates a weak magnetic field in the opposite direction when exposed to an external magnetic field, causing it to be slightly repelled. You are pretty good at science, I see. That definitely is science. Probably physics or something. I could be completely off with physics, but definitely science. It's pretty cool. So you just meet all kinds of people on the internet. And so I found this article, guys, or not found really. I didn't even do the shield updates, like backwards magnets. That's okay. Yeah. They're not touching. They're not touching. Yeah. Seeing that? That was the backwards magnetic right there. It's backwards magnets right there. You see that? Am I doing it? Interesting. I love learning from different people. They can be both. Not you giving me a rabbit hole to go down. So undergraduate degree earners. So April 16th, 2026, this is a today's article. And this is a today's article. They just posted this actually. I got this from Chronicles. The Chronicles of Higher Ed. I got this from Chronicles of Higher Ed. Got another Brainiac in the chat. We got another Brainiac. And so I appreciate that. Be careful grilling. So undergraduate degree earners, April 16th. I really don't want to write on myself, but it might be today. Hold on, y'all. So y'all know me. I like to get some data. I like to use my graduate skills that I learned in grad school. Like and subscribe. Make sure we like and subscribe so we can get that video. So we get these video recommended to more people as we're being consistent. So data is a big thing. Remember, people are saying that even though we have a lot of public distrust, some people probably left and probably say, yeah, we got a lot of public distrust. College ain't worth it. Yeah, I knew I was right. Then again, because some of these articles, like the one we just read or went through on Chronicles of Higher Education, like they are getting that from professionals who have been in the game, been in the higher ed world for a while. But sometimes it's opinionated to a certain extent. And this is the Clearinghouse. This is like the research center, the National Student Clearinghouse. This is like one of the most, if not most credible places to get data for higher ed. And you know me, I'll be talking about these other higher ed, supposedly higher ed YouTube channels, people who think they know higher ed and they didn't go to school for it, or they don't even have like 2 years work experience in it. So I'm gonna go through the highlights first before I even go through the actual like document. There's a document always at the bottom. It should be, like their method they took to do this, all that good stuff. But what's that right there? Oh, let's see the data. So real quick, make sure y'all can see. I'm gonna read. Should I read this? I feel like this is like the introduction. They didn't really specify. So the undergraduate degree earners report provides a demographic and educational credential profile for all students who graduate with an undergraduate level credential, encompassing undergraduate certificates, associates, and bachelor's degrees. In this report, we profile students who earned associate credentials or who earned undergraduate credentials during the most recent academic year, 2024-2025. Remember I said earlier that the data this is like some of the most recent data because the data has to be smashed and put into something beautiful for us to look at. It takes time to do that. And what else? I'm not gonna say that's one of the things I don't agree with the Trump administration. Remember, we're independent, nonpartisan. That's one of the things I don't agree with the Trump administration. They did earlier is cutting the funding to some of these places to do stuff like this, because I believe the National Clearinghouse gets a lot of their money federally as well, I believe. But of course, it could be a simple Google search. But I like to ask people who work on the side of higher ed, who really knows, because sometimes that Google AI overview, it had you looking crazy sometimes. So focusing on the first-time completers versus those with a prior award. So first-time completers is like if you went to college, right? It's your first time going to college, not first gen, just your first time in general going to college, and you complete. But some people come back to school, as we know, they have a bachelor's. Some people come back and get a bachelor's. Some people have a master's and they come back and get a master's. But this is undergraduate. This is from when you come fresh out of high school and you go straight into your freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year, right? And so when we say undergraduate, that's who we're talking about right now. And so now then they say we also examine the change over time in student demographics, gender, age, race / ethnicity, major field, credentials attained, certificate, associate and bachelor's degrees. Since 2015-16 academic year, which is technically a decade ago now, 10 years ago, the report presents trend data nationally as well as by state and region. All data prior to the 24-25 academic year reflect any newer. All data prior to the 2024-2025 academic year reflect any newer and additional data that participating institutions have reported to the clearinghouse since last year's publication. The report is presented as an interactive data dashboard. Additional information can be found in the downloadable data appendix, if I said the right appendix. And that's all this down here, but we're gonna do it the highlights because this is a live screen. We're trying to highlight stuff. But remember, you can always come behind me. This is free. It's really free. And so in the 2024-2025 academic year, more than three. Okay, I'm not going to read every line of this. Let's be clear. But I might have to read some lines line by line just to make sure I'm understanding the data right. So more than 3.4 million learners earn undergraduate credentials, plus 3.2%, compared to 2023-2024. About 2 million of them earned a bachelor's degree as their highest award. So they're saying that, look, plus 3.2%, but about 2 million bachelor's degree is the highest award. Sometimes associate's degree is somebody's highest award. Some people are like, man, I'm not even trying to take on all that student loan debt. I'm not even trying to go that far. Associate's degree is all I need. Sometimes certificate is all somebody need because somebody might be trying to do a trade. And so, or they might just need like a typing certificate or something. If you need that nowadays, you don't even need that, but just for example, like, and I can go on the job and type for a living. So they said that while 2 million of them earned a bachelor's degree, while 865,400 earned an associate's degree. 579,400 completers who earned an undergraduate certificate represent a decade high. First and foremost, do not get a certificate at a university. Please look at the price difference because universities will offer the same certificate as a 2-year college, and just compare. So they're saying that over the past decade, we always like to read the first sentence. Over the past decade, learners earning their first credential have represented about 3/4 of all undergraduate credential earners each year. What does that mean? I don't know. Let's keep going. However, there are notable differences across award types and student characteristics. Among bachelor degree completers, larger shares, more than 1/3 in 2024-2025 of Black, Hispanic, Native American, and Native Hawaiian / Pacific Islander credential earners hold a prior award compared to fewer than 30% of their white, multiracial, and Asian peers. So I did read the whole paragraph of that. But then as you keep going, students are increasingly, that's my part I want to get to. Students are increasingly completing undergraduate credentials at younger ages. This is what I was talking about. A lot of people are trying to get it young because they think if I do it young and fast, I can avoid the student loan debt, when that is not really the case. The student loan debt can still catch you if you're trying to do it fast, because some students might, as they were about to talk about, likely dual enrollment. At the same time, more learners under 18 likely dual enrolled. Like, a lot of parents think that it's not a bad idea, first and foremost, because I literally said it on the news anchor. I did not post that clip on YouTube. I should have asked them to send it to me as well. But when I did an interview, they asked me, like, is dual enrollment valuable? And I do believe dual enrollment is valuable. But some students mess themselves up doing dual enrollment at high school, right? And like, so what messes you up in dual enrollment, I couldn't go in detail on the news channel, but what can mess you up with dual enrollment is that some students are actually taking program classes. Like, some students will actually major in like a trade, like air conditioning, or some of them would do classes that's like, they might have their eyes set on being this when they get to university, and then they probably took some gen eds that had nothing to do with that. But they get to take this. Well, in Georgia, I can't speak for every state. In Georgia, dual enrollment is free. So they could have been they messed up their advantage taking, like, I know, like, if you want to be for example, it all depends on the school. Like, some schools might require you to take statistics. Some schools might not require you to take statistics. So like, you might be a business major, right? Or your goal is to be a business major, like business management. I'm just throwing it out there. And you took some classes that had nothing to do with like your gen eds had nothing to do with applying to this business management degree. And you was looking at this school solely, like you was looking at this one ABC school, and you took the gen eds for that ABC school, and then you go look at another school because you realize the ABC school is expensive. You look at another school and it's like, yeah, we require these gen eds. We want you to take statistics. We want you to, because they feel like that will better prepare you for the business world. hypothetical situation, but very true, likely to happen. So they said that learners between the ages of 18 and 20 represented the largest share, 32.6, pretty much, I would say 33%, but 32.6% of all first-time associate degree earners, surpassing those aged 21 to 24. At the same time, more learners under 18, likely dual enrolled high school students, are earning post-secondary credentials, as we just said. And the number of bachelor's degree earners increased across all race, ethnicity groups. The number of bachelor degree earners increased all across race, ethnicity groups in 2024, 2025. So why are people saying college is worthless? Or better, why are people saying that the public is not, like, when you think of the public, some people might say the billionaires, some people might think of wealthy people. You can't listen, or you might look at these big YouTubers. You can't listen to them. The data is showing you that the number of bachelor's degrees earners, the number of bachelor's degree earners increased across all race, ethnicity groups in 2024, 2025. And then right here, okay, we got a comment real quick before we go. Keep going. I think making Smud said, I think I'm gonna read, like, I think making the wrong choices, college is pointless. Making the wrong choices, college is pointless. But it can be good. Both can be true at the same time. Exactly. And so, yeah, I see that. Like, you go to college, but you make the wrong choices. Because I'm be honest, I know I see a lot of different perspectives. I'm be honest now. That was part of my major in undergraduate when I started at my 2-year, and then I bridged to university. I've pretty much been a liberal arts student. So my whole goal of going to school was to see others' perspective and just generally be like, I see that. I get that. I feel that. Like, that's exactly what's probably going on. And then, but Smell said, but cheaper wins. And so then they said right here, the annual growth range from 0. I don't know why they put that in there, but it is a percent. For international bachelor's degree completers to 5, the annual growth range from 0.3% for international bachelor's degree completers to 5.8% for Black bachelor degree earners. Keep going to school. The whole name of the game, keep going to school, but pick schools that is in your budget. Like, I get we watch March Madness. I get it. I get we watch the national playoff football, right? I get that we watch college sports. I get it. But don't go to those schools because you like the colors or you see them on TV. Like, you might see the students in the sections, and like, some of them people don't go to the school. I'll be honest with you. I'll never forget. I went to a college basketball game because one of my bros went to Georgia Southern, and the star player for the basketball team, I was sitting next to a dude because at my time I was at my 2-year college. Yeah, I was, and we got in free at that game too. And then I was at my 2-year college, and he was like, y'all want to come to Georgia Southern and go to the basketball game? We were like, shoot, yeah. Then we went, and so I'm sitting next to this dude, and I'm like, hey, you go here? Because he looked older, but I was like, you go here? And he was like, I just come to the games. And I was like, you just come to the games? He's like, I just come to the games. He was like really a fan. And I was like, yo, that's when I started I was like, I didn't know the outside public can go to the games. A little naive, but I didn't really think people did that really. So sports are equivalent to the Coliseum back in the day. Huh. Go to be taught how to think, not what to think, if that makes sense, and food, if that's good. Sports are equivalent to the Coliseum back in the day. Google that. 5 second, 1 minute, 2 minute break to Google that real quick. All right, quick. Coliseum. No, you okay? I'm just Googling that. When I don't know something, I usually Google it. Oh, you're good. Oh, yeah. You're right. Yeah. I heard that name before. So, yeah, Smug says like the color. Yeah, very much sports are like this. For sure. For sure. For sure. For sure. Talk about that all the time. For sure. For sure. No, you're good. And then right here, the 419, well, I'm gonna pretty much just say 420,000 students in 2014, 2024, 2025 who earned a bachelor's degree while already holding an associate's degree. So these are my people. These are my people like me who already hold an associate's degree. The most common prior to current award pathway represented the first notable growth in this population. 1% in 4 years. In 4 years, we got 1%, baby. We already got an associate's degree. But it says, however, this annual growth is still well below the growth for this pathway seen in the period of 2016, 2017 through 2020 to 2021. I think that's pretty cool, though, because in 2026, I was a graduate in high school. But through 2020, 2021, I had officially, in 2020, I had got my associate's degree. So I was part of that data, essentially. Go flip them. Makes the public happy. Generates loads of money. So right here, I don't know why I mentioned computer science. Y'all see that? 210,000 like and subscribe. 210. Can I like that comment? Let me go to what's the name real quick. $210,100 learners awarded credentials in computer science in 2024, 2025 represented increases for all award types and capped a strong decade of growth in students earning undergraduate computer science credentials, 85.5%, pretty much 86%. Computer science, though, man, I don't know if that's a good thing, though. With AI coming along, I don't know. Only reason I say that, I think Obama spoke on computer science. I think computer science has something to do with coding, and I don't want to say it does. I think computer science has a good deal to do with coding, if I'm not mistaken. And then you think about AI coming along, because the value, that's not even my words, y'all. That's like, let me see if I can find it. That's like Obama words about. Let me see. Yeah. There you go right there. I'm using a Google review right here, but he did say that. It should take us to that interview. It was at a college, no. But he said right here, however, now, he was advocating for foundational basic skills similar to writing. But it says, however, based on recent 2025 remarks, his view has evolved to reflect the rise of artificial intelligence, like and subscribe, the rise of artificial intelligence, suggesting that while foundational knowledge is good, AI now threatens to automate many standard programming jobs, leaving only top-tier coders as essential. So then you ask yourself, what are many standard programming jobs? What is considered a standard programming job? Let me see. What is considered a standard, like a standard programming? A really standard programming degree. in college. That's what I meant to say. I was going the job way. And then it tells me this. So then I'm screaming on LinkedIn. I know you might be Smoke said, you scream on other platforms? I'm like, no. And then he's like, guessing Twitch? No. LinkedIn. Yeah, because I'm in the higher education space. This was like Twitch. I was like, I don't know. Would you watch me on Twitch? Got it. I'm lost in the song. No, you okay. Hold up, would you watch me if I was on Twitch though? Does it look like I would be a Twitcher? Like, would you watch higher education on Twitch? That's a real question. Would you watch me talking about higher education on Twitch? Because I won't say I won't doubt it. Yeah, you Smugs, would you watch me on Twitch talk about higher education? Because I don't know how Twitch, I don't understand how Twitch works really. So, but I'm always open to trying things. Funky. What funky mean? What funky mean? F-U-N-K. What that mean? Help me out. Let me see. Honestly, I doubt I'll find you on Twitch by chance. Okay. Yeah, I could tell you from somewhere. When you say funk, I'm from Georgia. We don't say funk. When you say funk, you said it a couple of times. So what does funk mean? Oh, man, you aren't. No, I'm not down with the funk. What that mean? Twitch is probably not worth your time. Okay. Gonna have me saying funk. I'm gonna be in public. It'll be like funk. I'm gonna be like, you ain't with the funk? And then so we said, yeah. So remember we said Barack Obama, right? I don't want nobody being lost on me right now. Like and subscribe. Based on his recent 2025 remarks, his view has evolved to reflect the rise of artificial intelligence, suggesting that while foundational knowledge is good, AI now threatens to automate many standardized programming jobs. So then I typed in, what is considered a standard programming degree? And then it says bachelor's. This is just AI overview, simple AI overview. He said, face it to shit. Bung it up, get funky, bump, bro. Oh, don't. Oh, he said right here, phase into the shadows. Then he said right here, don't code, learn to AI prompt. Real advice. That's real advice right there. That's real advice right there. Because as we keep going, a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, like, that's what's considered a standard programming degree in college. But we go look at the data. This is why I be saying, like, I look at data in different views sometimes. Shout out to the stock market. Like, I just got that natural view. I look at stuff from different angles. Like, but they said 85% of the students, 85 of learners, 210,000 pretty much, are earning. A lot of students are going to school. 85+% have got degrees in computer science. So how you think that 85% gonna feel in a minute? Like, come on. Like they probably, like, you would say, initially you'd be like, that's good, but it's like not really, because people who have computer science, I'm not saying that it's the end of the world for computer science degree holders. I'm not saying that by far, because who am I to judge and say that? But what I'm saying is, if I consider what a former president of the United States says about the future of coding because of AI, man, I would not recommend, disclaimer, as we said in the beginning, but I would not, if I was a person good at computer science, I would pivot to something that's more, like I said, I genuinely feel, I know I could be a little biased on this, I genuinely feel that the future, we're going to need more people who can public speak, do like YouTube, like be more of yourself on camera or in person, because everything is so digitalized with technology that you're just going to need, like, this is probably the best degree to get, a liberal arts degree. And Obama said that. he said liberal arts. Like if you're really good at communicating, like how I'm talking to Smuzz right now in the live chat, and he can interact with a human about college and other topics, grilling. And what's that other one you said, Smuzz? The what's the other one you said? He was telling me about I'm going back up right now. He was telling me about, I'm gonna make sure I pronounce it too. He was telling me about diamagnetic. He was telling me about diamagnetic, you know. So we was talking about that. You know, I was just giving an example of what we was talking about earlier. And so Smuzz did say I had zero idea you could stream on LinkedIn. That's crazy. What dimension did I shift to? And then that's you can stream. Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. Henry Felton the third. That's literally the name on there. And so if you find me on LinkedIn, usually if you type in speaking on behalf, it should route you back to my LinkedIn. I run my personal LinkedIn through the business. So LinkedIn, man. Yes, sir. And then he said, it's best to learn both. I think, but work towards AI. And then I can't brain Smuzz there, to be honest, but I'll share. That's love right there. And so just keep that in mind, guys. If you are considering to get computer science, like Smudge said, you know, maybe you should work toward both. And I think that's a good idea too. Like learn AI. If you got a job teaching you, like remember we just said Navigator dropped some free AI courses. Hopefully in my spare time, I will be taking those AI courses that Navigator dropped for free. Or some of them you have to pay for, but that's worth the investment because you never know what I might need with AI. And so, and remember to always, if you see AI is growing like this, disclaimer, not a financial advisor, but NVIDIA is like the godfather of AI. And if you look at anybody on the stock market that talks about it, any of these other financial channels, you better capitalize on the opportunity and just, you know, try to learn about investing, go talk to a financial advisor, but make sure you got NVIDIA in there because NVIDIA went on a crazy run, but AI it's not going nowhere. It's really changing things. And then right here, all regions of the country saw increases in the number of undergraduate credential earners in 2024-2025, with the Northeast posting its first growth in 8 years. While the South and the West surpassed their 2020-2021 peak levels. So higher education is going up. Be careful. The video is dirty. Good for now. Caution. Not financial advice. Yeah, that's what we say. We're not giving financial advice. Please talk to a financial advisor because I do not want nobody blaming us, speaking on behalf, Henry, for financial advice. It's too many financial channels out there, and I'm not in that space. I'm in the higher ed space. But if you do understand politics and higher ed, like I tell people, if you go to college or go read scholarly articles, you know, like that's a big driver for me. A lot of my, like, I'm trying to get a school library card. Can you believe I graduated from college and I don't have access to the library no more? Like, why don't I should have a lifetime membership as an alumni to go to the library. Like, it's a lot of scholarly articles in there. Like, a lot of these people are, you know, research and development. But let me not get off topic. So the data, can I understand it? Let me see. How has the number of completers changed over time? And I might have to zoom out because my screen is, hopefully y'all can see it too. Just a little data. It shows how it went up, then went down. Nothing crazy. Should be a document though. Let me see something right quick. Let me see something before I keep going. That's dependence. That's some more wording. Let me see. Let me see. There's my brother, y'all. This man's crazy. The master is crazy. They got all this crazy data. Look at all this. Y'all think I'm about to go through all of this? All this crazy data? This how people be looking like they know stuff. They be like, yeah, so if you see right here, like the associate's degree, the bachelor's, that's all. I'm not gonna do that to y'all. I'm not gonna do that to y'all, show y'all this crazy stuff. But we pretty much talked about everything that we needed to about that. And if you want to, this is how you find it. If you want to go in a deeper analysis of it, I just went through the highlights of it. Normally the highlights is them pretty much breaking down the data already. And so if you want to go learn more, but remember, overall about this, people are completing their college degrees. It's not focusing on the money part though. Like people may be completing their degrees, their bachelor's, the associates, but at what price? At what return on investment, right? And so remember, that's what we do here. And then Smud says something else. Man, it's crazy. That's from LinkedIn. It's actually proof right here that I'm on LinkedIn. It did that from LinkedIn. It's pretty cool. Georgia, peaches soon. Simplify, which are built in Gemini. That would be a good tool for you, so it can help you find other things you may miss. Highlighted. Help with engagement. Okay. Oh, yeah. Smudge, you are right. I see what you're talking about now. I see what you're talking about. I see exactly what you're talking about. You know, my supervisor, he does that at work. He smashes data together. He smashes the data together and puts it into like literally what you said. It like does that for you, which is crazy. I'm not gonna do that now. I gotta do that in my spare time. It might take me to something else. I'll make sure to do that though. I'm gonna write that down though. That's a great idea. So yeah, it can give you a TLDR. That's good for AI to give you a high level overview. Okay, because you said that'd be help with engagement too. So gotta listen to the fan base, man. Fan base giving you good ideas. Hold on right quick. He said, yeah. So he said Gemini. That's interesting. He said Gemini. We use Copilot at our job. We use Copilot. That's interesting, Gemini. Okay. Okay. All right. So, with that being said, that was our last topic. I don't really see anything else that's out there. That's something I'd be like, oh, hold on, wait, but nothing really popped up. Normal stuff. Let me see. Local college, some stuff, not really. We're talking. So, all right, that was the last thing. We will be back on tomorrow Friday. We'll be back on tomorrow for a live stream. That's what we're going to do, a college review on Friday. Like and subscribe if you stop by. Appreciate Smuds. Hopefully Smuds became a subscriber. Hopefully Smuds hit that subscribe button. I really hope that person did. And so if you are new, tell people, share with people. We come on tomorrow. The schedule is normally Tuesday. It's on our banner, but it's Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at 8:15 p.m. But tomorrow we do a review. We usually review a college. We recently did a community college, but now we'll probably do a university tomorrow. And just like and subscribe, keep supporting. We're gonna stay consistent, and we just give you the organic truth of higher education. Yeah, help you save. Remember, we help you save $10,000 or more. How do we do that? Remember that like if you start at university, but we want you to start at a 2-year, then bridge to university. But some 2-year colleges have campuses as well, like meal plans and dorms. So I always say, if you are starting at a 2-year community college, stay off campus. Do not get a meal plan. When you go to your 2-year, you're going to bridge to a 4-year that has an articulation agreement. If you're that type, you're like, well, what if my university doesn't have one with a 2-year and I go to the wrong 2-year? Where's your dream university? Because everybody usually has a dream school, right? So check in with your university that you want to go to, or potentially, like, when you knock it down to your top 3 schools and say, like, hey, out of my top 3 schools, do y'all have articulation agreement, pathway agreements with 2-year colleges? Because that also opens up another opportunity for you to get into the school. That helps you get around that admissions process we talked about earlier, that the public distrust, the public do not trust the admissions process, right? So if you don't get in initially, you can get another chance by going to a 2-year, then bridge it to a 4-year. Bridge it to a 4-year. And then when you get to your 4-year, stay off campus. Do not get a meal plan. But you're like, so where do I live? What if I'm homeless? So guys, if you are in a situation, colleges should tell you this, but they don't really. They should. If you are in a situation where you do not have a roof over your head, you are living in your car, like times are hard, do not go to college. The game is different. Do not go to college. Go work, make some money, learn how to budget, learn how to save, whichever you need in life, right, at that time. Then I say come back to school, because we have people who go to college at all ages. Like, people come back to school when they're 35 or 40. You come to school later at 25, 24, whatever, is not a big deal. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to ask somebody, when did you get your degree? At what age? I have yet to do that. I just asked them where they studied at, what they majored in. And I might ask them what their GPA was, because if they like healthcare and they try to work on me, was you paying attention to class? I'll be worried about that now. So, but yeah, 2-year to 4-year. Ask the 4-year, like, do they got articulation agreement, pathway agreements? And then if they do, that helps you narrow down what 2-year you should go to. And then, like people do it at universities, they stay off campus, live off campus. You could do that with a 2-year. This 2-year might be near your dream university. So then you might move to that area, just get there early, get comfortable. Because when you get your associate's degree, like, it really don't matter what career field, when you get your associate's degree, now you can go into the workforce a lot sooner, and now you can take the money from your associate's degree, and then now you can pay your way for your bachelor's. And that does not include your scholarships, your grants, other things the school might give you along the way to help with paying for school. So you just like, that's what I did. That was the method I took. Are you going to find that in scholarly research? No. Are you going to find that in articles? No. But as this live stream, as this YouTube channel keeps growing, you're going to see that more. You're going to see people bring that up. And we are here. We got a new person in here. AvaGM-C3U says, I am not going to say, this is a real comment. I am going to say, quotations, do not go to college at all. If you want to get a skill, go to a trade school. When I went to college, I paid for it as I went along. It was affordable. You can't do that anymore. Scam. So that person right there believes college is a scam. And, they have the right to believe that. And so, yeah. But remember, y'all, that's our subject. That's our method. Thank you for the comments. Thank you, everybody. You state your opinion. I appreciate everybody stating their opinion, because you never know what kids might need to see it. Remember, we are nonpartisan. We're independent. We don't get caught up on left-leaning, right-leaning. We focus on our perspective and how we can save abundance of money in college. Since I was able to get a debt-free degree, from a 2-year to a 4-year in graduate school, that's what we focus on. We don't focus on the outside noise. We got to focus on like how you can change your situation. So I appreciate everybody who stopped by. Please like and subscribe, tell people. Trying to build a community. We're not trying, we are building a community, and we'll be back tomorrow. Peace, love, chicken grease. That's right.